Tonight, let's explore an ancient Zen teaching called the Gateless Gate. This idea stands as one of the kindest and most profound lessons in all of Buddhism, guiding us toward the quiet peace that has always lived inside you. As we begin this relaxing journey together, please share in the comments. Tell me what time it is where you are and which part of the world you're listening from right now. So many times in our daily lives, we find ourselves searching for something that feels just out of reach. We look for true peace, lasting happiness, or that perfect moment when life finally seems whole and fulfilled. We imagine some hidden wall standing between us and that sense of completion, a closed gate that blocks our path, no matter how hard we push against it. But what if that gate was never really there at all? What if the struggle we've carried for years was nothing more than a trick of the mind? The Gateless Gate points directly to this eye-opening truth. Zen teaches that there is no real wall separating you from the calm you seek. It never existed in the first place. The only thing keeping it alive is our deep belief that it does. And when that belief begins to fade, even just a little, we suddenly see that we've been standing in the exact place we dreamed of all along. Right now, no matter how you're positioned as you listen, let your body sink into complete relaxation. There's nothing complicated to figure out tonight. No big achievements to chase or deep mysteries to unlock. Simply take a slow breath and allow these timeless insights to wash over you gently, like warm rain nourishing the earth. Inhale deeply and slowly and come along with me into this peaceful reflection. From the moment we're young, it often feels like something is missing deep inside. We sense a quiet separation from real joy, from the kind of life we imagine is waiting just ahead. This feeling grows so familiar that we rarely stop to question it. We accept it as normal and spend our energy trying to bridge the gap. We work hard every day. We build better routines. We seek out knowledge and grow wiser. We test every possible way to break through and finally feel truly at peace. But Zen gently asks us to look closer at this supposed gap. Is it actually real? Can we touch it, see it clearly, or draw its boundaries? Or is it something we've created in our thoughts, a wall built entirely from our own assumptions? The Gateless Gate has inspired spiritual seekers for hundreds of years. It shares a simple yet powerful realization that changes everything. The doorway we've been desperate to find and open doesn't actually exist. It was never there. We've tired ourselves out fighting against something that was only a shadow. We've used up so much energy trying to open a door that has been standing wide open the whole time. Tonight, we'll softly explore this beautiful illusion together. We'll meet people in stories who held tightly to their imagined walls, searching and struggling just like we sometimes do. And we'll see the gentle moment when understanding finally arrives. In a peaceful valley filled with gentle hills and winding trails, a traveler named Lian carried a deep, quiet longing in his heart. From his childhood days, he had felt a sense of something incomplete, even if he couldn't quite name it. He watched his friends and neighbors go about their lives with seeming contentment and wondered about their ease. Did they not feel the emptiness he carried? Did they not dream of something more profound? Over the years, this longing grew stronger and turned into a true calling. Stories from passing travelers spoke of distant places where wise beings lived in harmony, offering ancient wisdom and a lasting inner peace to those who were ready. These tales fed his hope. He became certain that the answer lay far away. One story captured his imagination more than any other. It described a hidden paradise high in the mountains, a place of incredible beauty where anyone who arrived could release their worries like morning fog burning away in the sun. This paradise had no official name, and its location was shared only in quiet conversations. But those who had found it, according to the stories, came back completely changed. They lived with a natural lightness that filled others with wonder. Lian decided he had to find this paradise for himself. He saved what little he earned from working the land. He asked every visitor and merchant about this mysterious place. Most had never heard of it. A few offered unclear directions toward different mountain ranges. With those hints, Lian set out on his adventure. His search lasted for many years. He climbed dangerous mountain paths. He crossed rushing rivers on narrow bridges. He slept in hidden caves and under open skies full of stars. He asked everyone he met for guidance, but the answers always differed. Some pointed east, others west. A handful called it a legend, a story meant to inspire dreamers. Yet Lian could not ignore the strong feeling inside him. The calling was too real. The paradise had to be out there somewhere. He just needed to go farther or ask more questions. So he continued year after year as the journeys left their marks on his body and spirit. One afternoon, when he was no longer young, Lian walked along a sunny path in a valley blooming with flowers. He had started early that day, his legs tired, his water low. Up ahead, he saw a small resting spot by the road, cared for by an older woman sitting under a simple shelter. Lian approached and sat down across from her on a wooden bench. His body welcomed the break. "What has brought you along this road?" she asked, her voice calm like a steady stream. "Some tea, if it's possible," Lian answered. She poured it carefully and with care. Her face showed the soft lines of many lived years, her hair shining silver in the light, but her eyes were bright and clear like mountain lakes. "You have traveled a great distance," she said. "Where is your journey taking you?" Lian hesitated. After so many years, saying his goal out loud felt a bit childish, but her peaceful manner invited honesty. "I am looking for a hidden paradise up in the high mountains," he explained. "It is said that those who reach it discover a peace that lasts forever. I have been searching for it for many years now." The older woman nodded slowly, as if she had heard similar stories before. "Many years, that shows a true and deep desire." "Yes," Lian agreed, feeling the weariness in his own voice. "But sometimes I wonder if I will ever find it. Every story places it somewhere different. The directions never agree. I even question if it truly exists. And yet you keep going. What else can I do? The desire is still there. I cannot go back home and pretend it isn't." The woman looked out over the valley quietly. The sunlight warmed the hills, and flowers moved gently in the soft wind. "What do you imagine this paradise looks like?" she asked. "If you found it tomorrow, what would you see?" Lian had thought about this countless times. The pictures came to him clearly. "Flowers of every kind and color," he began. "Shades I can't even count. Air so still and filled with a peace you can almost touch. Beautiful songs from birds all around. Lights soft and glowing, playing through the leaves in magical ways." He stopped, feeling the ache of wanting it so much. "And once inside, every worry would disappear. You would feel completely at home." The woman listened with her eyes closed softly. She nodded again. "That sounds like a wonderful vision," she said quietly. Then she pointed out toward the valley around them. "What do you see here right now?" Lian looked around. His tiredness had kept him from really noticing when he arrived. Now he saw hills covered in bright flowers, purple, yellow, white, swaying lightly in the breeze. The air felt warm and calm, moved only by that gentle wind. Birdsongs blended beautifully nearby. The late afternoon sun came through the trees softly, lighting everything in golden warmth. He looked back at her, confused. She gave him a kind smile. "Travelers have passed through this valley for generations," she said. "Many are searching, just like you. They rush ahead, eyes on faraway mountains, sure that their peace is waiting over the next hill. They miss the beauty right under their feet." Lian felt something move inside him, but part of him still resisted. But this cannot be the paradise. There are no walls around it, no clear entrance to step through. It's just an ordinary valley on a regular path. Exactly, she answered. The walls, the entrance. What do you think the paradise's boundaries would look like? What would its gate be? Leon started to answer, then stopped. He had never really thought about it before. He had always assumed there would be walls, a gate, some clear marker, but the stories never described any of that. He had added those details himself without realizing. The woman poured more tea into his cup. The steam rose and disappeared into the open air. Many people imagine walls where there are none, she went on. They believe they are separated from what they want most, so they search for a way in, a key, or a special moment to cross over. They walk past beautiful valleys like this one, waiting for the sign that they have arrived. She looked directly at him with steady kindness. But what if there are no walls at all? What if the separation only exists because we believe it does? Leon sat with her words. The tea warmed him and brought a gentle sweetness. A bird landed close by, looking at him with curiosity. The flowers kept dancing slowly, not caring about his confusion. Are you saying, he asked slowly, that this valley is the paradise? I am saying that no hidden paradise with walls and a gate ever existed. There is only this world, always here, always open, offering its beauty to anyone who stops to truly see it. She pointed again to the landscape around them. The paradise appears wherever someone stops searching long enough to really look. The gate is just the moment of seeing clearly. You have been walking through the paradise your whole life. You were just too busy looking for it to notice. Leon felt tears coming to his eyes, not sure if they were from sadness or relief. He thought about all the years spent searching, mountains climbed, rivers crossed, people asked. He had been so sure the paradise was somewhere else, needing a special entry. He had passed so many wonderful places without seeing them, always looking ahead, believing real beauty was farther on. All these years, he whispered softly. Those years were not wasted, she said gently. They brought you to this moment, this valley, this cup of tea we share. Sometimes searching comes before letting go. Sometimes long journeys help us recognize where we truly belong. Leon stayed in the valley for several more days. He slept under the stars and woke to bird songs. He walked among the colorful flowers and felt the sun's warmth. The longing that had driven him grew quiet, not because he found something new, but because he finally accepted what had always been offered. When he left, he thanked her deeply for showing him the way. She shook her head with a soft smile. I didn't show you anything. I only pointed to what was already around you. You decided to finally see it. Back in his home village, people noticed a change in Lion. He moved more slowly. He really looked at the world around him. When asked about his long journey, he would smile and say he had found what he was looking for. Where is it? They would ask. How far did you have to go? Leon would point to what was right there, the fields, the sky, their simple homes, and say, not far at all. It has been here the whole time. I just stopped looking somewhere else. This story beautifully captures the heart of the gateless gate. Lion spent years chasing a gate that wasn't there. His strong belief in separation kept him from seeing the beauty that was always present. It took the woman's gentle guidance toward the present moment to melt away the illusion. Zen shows us how we often create these invisible veils over our perception. We build gates to the states we desire most. They feel so real that we spend endless time searching for ways to open them, seeking secrets or earning worthiness. But the gateless gate reminds us of the gentle truth. There are no walls. There never were. The only struggle comes from believing in separation. When we pause and look closely, we realize we have always been inside the peace we seek. In a lively town known for its skilled potters, a devoted craftsperson named Mira dedicated her life to working with clay. Since she was young, she had shaped, glazed, and fired countless pieces. Her work received admiration. People called it beautiful, even outstanding. But Mira always felt she could reach a higher level, learning secret methods known only to the greatest masters. Whispers told of an elder named Taro who lived on the edge of town. He was very old, and his pottery was considered among the best ever created. Many hopeful artists traveled long distances to learn from him. However, Elder Taro accepted students very selectively. Only those who proved they were truly ready could study with him. The test, according to the stories, was to bring a piece you had made that showed complete mastery. Elder Taro would examine it carefully. If it passed, you were welcomed. If not, you left without a word. Mira was nervous about this. To her own eyes, her work always showed flaws, curves not quite right, surfaces not perfectly smooth. How could she create something worthy of such a master? Still, her wish to improve was stronger than her fear. She gave herself completely to the challenge. She spent day after day at her wheel, making one piece after another. When each was finished, she would turn it slowly and study it in the light. Always, she found small issues, a slight unevenness, a tiny mark, a curve that could be better. She set them aside and started again. Months became years. Her workshop filled with pieces she had rejected, covering shelves and the floor. Her friends became worried. She barely slept. She ate little. Dark circles formed under her eyes. Her entire focus was on creating the perfect piece that would open Elder Taro's door. "You are wearing yourself out," her close friend Sina said one evening. "Your work is already amazing. Any piece would impress a master." Mira shook her head. "You don't understand. Elder Taro only accepts those who have proven themselves. If my piece has any flaw, I will be turned away. My one chance will be gone. How do you know what he looks for? The test is famous. Only true masters are accepted." Sina looked at all the pieces around them. "Is none of them good enough?" Mira touched one nearby. It was graceful, with a glaze like evening sky colors. But she saw a small difference at the base, a moment where her attention had wandered. "Not this one," she said. "I will keep going until something perfect appears." Finally, after almost a full year, Mira created a piece that seemed flawless at first. It was elegant and perfectly balanced, glazed in the soft colors of morning light. The sides were even. The curve was ideal. She turned it over and over, searching for the usual mistake. She found none. A spark of hope returned. Maybe this was the one. She wrapped it carefully and placed it in a safe box. She hardly slept that night. The next morning, she set out for Elder Taro's home. The path led through busy streets and then quieter roads lined with trees. Her nervousness grew. Had she missed something? Would Elder Taro see a flaw right away? His home was simple, surrounded by plants near a small stream. Sunlight spotted the ground through the leaves. An older man sat outside on a low stool, shaping clay with smooth, experienced movements. He kept working as she approached. Mira waited respectfully. After a while, he set his piece down and looked at her. "You have come a long way," he said kindly. "Yes, Elder Taro. I wish to learn from you." She bowed low. "I have brought a piece for you to see. I hope it shows that I am ready." She carefully uncovered it and held it out. Elder Taro took it gently. He turned it slowly, looking from every side. The morning glaze caught the light beautifully. He felt the rim, checked the balance, and admired the smooth lines. Then he set it down beside him. Mira's heart sank. There was no excitement in his face, only calm stillness. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I know there must be a hidden flaw. I worked for almost a year, but it still isn't enough. Can you give me more time? I can try to make it better." Elder Taro lifted his hand calmly to quiet her. She stopped. "The piece is beautifully made," he said clearly. There is no flaw in it. Mira was surprised. Then you will teach me? Yes, I will. But not because of the peace. I don't understand. Elder Taro looked at her with deep kindness. There is no test, he said simply. There never has been. This shook Mira deeply. But everyone talks about it. I know the stories. People arrive holding their best work, afraid it won't be enough. They speak of the test, the strict standards, the fear of being judged. He shook his head softly. I don't know where those stories started, but they are not true. I never asked for a perfect peace. I never turned away anyone who truly wanted to learn. Mira felt the world shift around her. Never, never. I teach anyone who has a sincere wish to grow. An honest heart and willing hands are all that matter. Skill develops over time. The important thing is the desire to begin. Mira thought about the months of worry, sleepless nights, pieces made and set aside, feeling unworthy the whole time. All those pieces I made, she said quietly. All that fear, they were not wasted, Elder Taro said, surprising her. You learned a great deal in that year. Your hands became more skilled. Your eye became sharper. But that growth came from working with the clay, as all potters do. He stood and invited her to sit at a wheel nearby. The gate you feared was always open, he said. It was never locked. You built it yourself from your worries and your belief that you needed to prove something to be welcomed, but welcome was waiting from the moment you first wanted to learn. You just believed you had to earn it. Mira sat down at the wheel. It felt smooth from years of use. Fresh clay waited nearby, ready to shape. So the test, she said slowly, the stories of proving worth, they are gates we make ourselves. I cannot stop people from building them. I can only tell those who arrive that the gates were never real. He began shaping new clay again. Now let's begin. There is much to learn, and the morning light is beautiful. In the years that followed, Mira grew greatly under Elder Taro's guidance. Her pottery became even more wonderful than she had imagined, but she always remembered that first morning's lesson, when new students arrived nervously holding their best pieces, afraid they weren't good enough. Mira would sit with them. She would share her story quietly. There is no test waiting for you, she would say. There never was. The worth you are searching for is already inside you. The gate you fear is made only from belief. Let it go. You have always been welcome. These stories share the same gentle awakening from different angles. Leon searched for a hidden paradise. Mira searched for proof of her skill. Both exhausted themselves against gates they had created. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering comes from this kind of misunderstanding. We take our ideas for reality. We create separations that aren't there, then spend our lives trying to overcome them. The gateless gate invites us to examine our assumed walls more carefully. Are they solid and real? Can we hold them, define them, prove they exist? Or are they made of air, disappearing when we look directly? This doesn't mean ignoring real challenges in life. We face true difficulties that need attention and effort. But there is a difference between actual obstacles and imagined separations. The gateless gate speaks to those imagined ones. The belief that we are fundamentally cut off from peace, wholeness, or belonging. That belief, Zen teaches, is the only real gate, and it has always been open. We stand on one side pushing, not realizing a single step forward is all that's needed. The block lives only in the belief. When the belief softens, even for a moment, we see the truth. We were never outside. We are always inside. Let your breathing become easy now, natural and free. Feel how this very moment holds you without needing you to cross any line. There is nothing to prove, no far place to reach. Just rest in the gentle truth of being here. We have seen how the sense of separation can be an illusion, a gate held up only by belief. Now let's go a little deeper into this teaching touching something that might feel surprising at first. The gate is not put there by life or the universe. It is not a test from some higher power. We build it ourselves, often without noticing. A quiet desire for more meaning arises. We start searching. We prepare ourselves. We work to become ready. We picture a line we need to cross. We push to get there. But Zen points out the beautiful twist. The searching itself creates the feeling of something missing. The effort to break through makes the breakthrough seem necessary. Preparing for arrival keeps arrival always in the future. Buddhism teaches that holding on tightly causes pain. Even holding on to ideas of freedom, a strong wish for peace, can sometimes block peace. Trying hard to be present can push presence away. Let me share a story about building our own gates and the moment of clear seeing. Near the foot of a famous sacred mountain, a devoted person named Sora had dreamed her whole life of climbing to the temple at the top. This temple was known far and wide. Travelers said prayers there could change lives. Those who returned spoke with quiet awe, their eyes gentle from the experience. Sora had wanted to make the climb since she was a child, hearing family stories, but the time never seemed right. In her younger years, money was short. Family duties took all her time. She promised herself she would go when things were better. When things improved, she didn't know the proper prayers. Going unprepared might waste the blessing. She learned the sacred words by heart, practicing until perfect. When the words were mastered, her clothes were old. To visit a holy place required respect in appearance. She made new cloth and sewed proper robes. When the robes were ready, her children were small. They needed her care. A long climb would be impossible. She would wait until they grew. Years passed in this way. One preparation led to another. One reason to wait followed the next. Sora never lost her intention. She just felt she wasn't quite ready yet. Her children grew up. Her robes stayed beautiful. Her prayers were perfect. And Sora grew older. Her hair turned grey. Mornings brought stiffness in cold weather. Looking at the distant mountain, she wondered if she still had the strength. One autumn evening, a travelling wise person passed through her village. His clothes were worn from the road, his shoes thin. He stopped at the village well. Sora brought him tea and a place to rest. "Thank you for your kindness," he said, sitting in her garden. "I have walked far." "Where are you coming from?" Sora asked. "From the east, and before that, the south. I have been wandering for many years." "Really? You have no permanent home?" He smiled warmly. "Every place is my home. I am always arriving." Sora didn't fully understand, but she went on, "I have a special destination, the temple at the top of the mountain. I have been preparing for the pilgrimage my whole life." "Ah, the temple, a peaceful and sacred place. I visited it last spring." Sora felt a strong wave of longing. "You have seen it. Please tell me about it." "It is quiet, harmonious. The keepers are kind. From the top, the view of the valley is breathtaking." He drank his tea slowly. "Have you planned your climb?" Sora paused. The question suddenly felt heavy. "Soon," she said. "When I am fully ready." When will that be? She couldn't answer. She had prepared for decades. There was always one more thing, one more delay. The wise traveler looked at her kindly. "May I ask what you are waiting for?" Sora thought about her savings, her prayers, her robes, her grown children. Each had been important at the time. Perhaps for worthiness, she admitted, to be completely prepared for such a holy journey. And if complete worthiness never comes, if there is always one more preparation, a quiet fell. Something uncomfortable stirred inside her. "I don't know," she said honestly. The traveler set down his cup. "May I share something from my travels?" "Of course. There is no such thing as perfect readiness. No moment when everything is finished and the way is clear. We imagine that moment, so we wait, we prepare. We put off living until conditions are perfect. He paused gently. But conditions are never perfect. Life is always changing and imperfect. If we wait for perfection, we wait forever. Sora remembered her grandmother, who told stories of the temple but never went. She too had prepared endlessly. She passed away still waiting. But some preparation is needed. I can't go with nothing. Practical preparation is helpful, but there is a difference between that and endless waiting. You have money saved. You know the prayers. Your children are grown. What are you really waiting for? Sora looked at her hands, marked by years. They were all gates she had built herself. The realization came softly. Fear, she whispered. Fear that it won't live up to my dream. I have imagined it for so long. What if it disappoints? The wise person nodded thoughtfully. Preparation keeps the dream perfect. The imagined temple can't let you down. The real one might. Tears formed. Yes, maybe. Preparation becomes a gate we build to keep the journey in the future safe from real life's imperfections. A comfortable quiet settled. Birds sang in the garden. The light grew softer as evening came. How do I stop? Sora asked. How do I stop building these gates? He smiled with kindness. See what you are doing. Begin anyway. Move forward. Not perfectly prepared, just called by something that has lived in your heart forever. But I feel unprepared. The readiness you have is enough. The perfect readiness you seek can't be reached. It is chosen. Choose to start even with imperfection. Choose to move forward into the unknown. He stood to continue his journey. One more thing? Yes, I have visited many temples. Some grand, some simple, but the deepest holiness is not in the place. It is in the act of going, the willingness to leave, to follow the calling, to let life unfold as it will. He picked up his walking stick. The mountain temple is beautiful, but waiting for perfect readiness might mean missing the everyday pilgrimage that life offers. When he left, Sora sat in her garden, thinking for a long time. Decades of preparation. Gates built to protect her from the risk of real experience. Preparation had hidden her from the vulnerability of taking an actual step. The next morning, she put on her beautiful robes. She took her savings. She said her prayers for comfort. She walked out her door and began the climb. The path was hard. Her body ached. The steepness was more than she expected. She rested often. But with each step, something inside loosened. The self-built gate began to fade, not because she had achieved perfect readiness, because she stopped waiting for it forever. When she reached the top, the temple was both more and less than her dream. The keepers were welcoming. The view was stunning. There was no sudden magical change, no instant awakening, just a quiet satisfaction from completing the journey she had longed for. On the way down, she understood. The temple hadn't transformed her. What changed was that she stopped waiting. She became willing to step through the gate she had built herself. Even feeling unprepared, the gate had never been locked from outside. She had kept it closed for years with endless preparation. This story shows how we can block ourselves. Sora wanted the pilgrimage deeply, but endless readiness kept her from it. Each requirement became another brick in the wall, separating her from her longing. Zen teaches that searching can sometimes prevent finding. Strong desire can make us believe endless preparation is required, but preparation becomes endless when we are avoiding the vulnerability of moving forward. The gateless gate goes beyond perfect preparation. It opens when we stop insisting on readiness first. Readiness is not something we finally achieve. It is chosen again and again to move toward what matters, even with imperfection and uncertainty. In a small village where evening music floated on the air, a young person named Theo played the flute with incredible skill and beauty. When he practiced alone in the hills, his notes floated like magic. Birds stopped singing to listen. Travelers paused, moved by the sound. trying to find where it came from. But Theo never played for others, not at village gatherings, not at festivals. When invited, he always said no politely. "I am not ready yet," he would say. "Maybe next year." His family worried. "You have such a gift," they encouraged. "Why keep it hidden?" "I am not hiding it," Theo replied. "I am improving it. When it is good enough, I will share it. Until then, I must practice." Good enough for who? For anyone who listens. They deserve the best. But nothing convinced him. Theo noticed every small mistake. A note slightly off, breath not smooth, a phrase not flowing perfectly. How could he share something imperfect? They deserved better. He would practice until it was flawless. Years went by. His skill grew, but his standards grew higher too. The more he improved, the farther perfection seemed. It moved away like the horizon. One autumn, a famous musician came to the village. Elder Wen had been blind since childhood, yet when he played his instrument, he touched hearts in ways no one could explain. Wen gave a performance in the village square. Theo watched from the back. He saw the old hands create music deeper than technical perfection. The playing wasn't perfect by strict measures. Theo noticed small timing changes, gentle bends in pitch, but those imperfections added warmth and humanity that perfect playing might lack. When the music ended, the crowd left slowly. Theo stayed. Wen sat alone, caring for his instrument with love. "You are still here," Wen said, without seeing. He sensed presence. "How did you know?" Theo asked. "Your way of listening is different, like someone who understands the cost of music." Theo was surprised. "I play the flute a little." "A little?" Wen smiled. "Your listening shows great depth, perhaps too serious." Theo had no words. He felt seen in a new way. "Come sit with me," Wen asked. "I would enjoy company on my walk." Theo sat nearby. The village grew quiet, lights coming on in homes as night fell. "Why do you never play for others?" Wen asked. "A village full of music lovers, a young person with talent, but no one hears you." "How do you know? If you played, stories would spread." "Listen to our Theo. His flute is heavenly." "No one has said that. You keep your gift private." Theo felt warmth in his cheeks. "I am not ready. My playing isn't good enough." Good enough for whom? For the listeners. There are many mistakes, notes not pure, breath not steady. How can I share imperfection? Wen paused thoughtfully. Then he laughed gently, without judgment. "You sound like me when I was young, but my music touches people. It is imperfect too. In one part the timing is a bit off. In the ending, a note bends too soon. My old hands don't always obey, but the feeling reaches hearts anyway." "That is exactly it," Wen said, turning toward him though blind. "The feeling reaches. Why do you think yours wouldn't?" Theo tried to explain. It seemed obvious, but the words wouldn't come. "When I was young, I worried about perfection. I practiced without end, waiting for the day it would be flawless. I believed then I would be worthy to share. What happened? I lost my sight. For a long time I couldn't play. I was filled with regret. Eventually I remembered music and began again, but differently. No one could see me. I wasn't seeking praise or fearing criticism. I simply played the music as it was." His fingers touched the strings lovingly. "I realized waiting for perfection was a way to hide. I feared people judging me or being disappointed. I built a safe gate. I called it not ready. Behind it, I avoided the risk of truly being heard." Theo felt a tightness in his chest. "How do you play knowing it's imperfect?" "I stopped making perfection the goal. Music is not about showing skill. It is a gift offered from heart to heart, imperfectly. The imperfections are part of it. They make it human." Wen reached out and gently took Theo's hand. "Is your flute with you?" Theo hesitated. He always carried it. Thinking of playing made him tense. Yes, would you play for me? Not for the village, not for a crowd, just for an old blind man who would love to hear your hidden treasure. Everything inside wanted to say no. The usual reasons came up: not prepared, not warmed up, wrong setting. But Wen's calm face stirred something else. Tiredness of his own excuses, a desire to share what he had kept hidden. He took out his flute. His hands shook a little. There will be mistakes, he warned. Of course, like in mine, like in any music worth playing. Theo raised it to his lips. He closed his eyes, sharing Wen's blindness, free from being watched. He played. The notes rose into the evening air, beautiful even with imperfections. His breath caught in places. His fingers stumbled briefly in a difficult part. But the music lived and flowed in a way it never had in lonely practice. It lived because it was shared, risked between two people. When he finished, tears were on his cheeks. Wen was quiet for a long time. Then he bowed his head slowly. "Thank you," he said softly. "A true gift. Not perfect. Gifts are not meant to be perfect." Theo wiped his eyes. "I was so afraid. Fear is real, but the gate it built was not. Stay behind a wall you made yourself, waiting for impossible readiness. Readiness is not a feeling that finally arrives. It is a choice. Choose to offer your music even with imperfection. That choice opens the gate. Or you realize the gate was never there." That evening Theo played in the village square for the first time. The music was imperfect. It always would be. But it was real and freely given. People were touched in ways perfection could never reach. In the years after, Theo became known across the region, not just for skill, but for the honest and open feeling in his playing. He played knowing his limits and offered anyway, offering open hearts in listeners. Young musicians came to him, stuck in fear of imperfection. Theo shared what his blind teacher taught him. "I thought a gate kept me out. I built it myself, from fear and the belief that perfection was required to share. Sharing is the purpose, not perfection. The gate opens when you decide to offer what you have, without waiting to feel completely ready." This story shows another way we create barriers. Theo had a gift to share, but fear of imperfection walled him off from sharing. He believed readiness and flawlessness were required first. Readiness stayed away as standards rose to protect him behind the wall. The Buddha taught that clinging is a source of suffering, clinging even to ideals. Theo clung to the idea of perfect music. That clinging prevented the imperfect but beautiful human sharing. The gateless gate does not open by becoming flawless. It opens by releasing the demand for perfection and offering anyway. Offering is what matters, not flawlessness of the gift. Wait for readiness, and you wait forever. Choose to begin imperfect and uncertain, and discover the gate was always open. Take a soft breath in, let it out slowly. Feel that you don't need to be different right now. This breath is already whole. This moment is enough. We have seen how the gate is often an illusion we create through endless searching and preparation. Now let's go deeper into the heart of the gateless gate teaching. When there is no gate, there is no crossing. We wait for a big moment of change, a step from one side to the other that transforms everything. But that moment never comes because there is nothing to cross. This might be the hardest part to accept. We are used to thinking in journeys and arrivals, before and after, ordinary here and sacred there. But the gateless gate removes those lines. It shows we are already on the other side. We always have been. No crossing is needed because there is nowhere else to go. Zen repeats this gently. What you seek is already yours. The arrival you hope for is not somewhere you left. The change you long for is not moving from here to there. It is seeing what has always been here, hidden in plain sight. Let me share a story about realizing there was never any distance or gate to cross. In a quiet retreat center, surrounded by tall evergreen trees, a dedicated student named Arya had spent more than 10 years studying spiritual practice. She arrived as a young person, full of desire to understand deeply. She sat in long periods of stillness. She memorized ancient teachings. She served her teacher, Master Lyra, with complete loyalty and no questions. Master Lyra spoke little. She taught that silence can teach as much as words, and simple presence as much as instructions. Many students came expecting dramatic teachings and left disappointed. They were given ordinary tasks, sweeping the courtyard, preparing food, watching their breath quietly. Many left after a few months, feeling there was no real teaching. They wanted explanations, breakthroughs, clear progress. Master Lyra gave none, but Arya stayed. She trusted that Master Lyra knew the way, that the methods had purpose, even if the goal felt far. She did every task without complaint. She rose before sunrise. She sat until her body ached. She did even the simplest chores with full attention. All the while, she waited. She waited for Master Lyra to recognize her commitment. She waited for confirmation that her understanding was growing. She waited for a sign that she had arrived. The sign never came. Other students received small nods or kind words for thoughtful answers. Some were given special responsibilities. A few had private talks that others wondered about. Arya received nothing. Master Lyra treated her the same as always. No praise, no correction, no drawing closer or pushing away. Every question was met with a nod and back to work. At first, Arya tried harder. She sat longer in stillness. She studied the texts more deeply. She brought even more care to her tasks. Surely this would be noticed. Surely her devotion would bring the recognition she longed for. Years passed with no change. Arya began to doubt herself. Maybe she lacked something others had. Maybe there was a flaw in her understanding that everyone saw except her. Maybe she was not capable of awakening. Doubt grew, but her practice stayed steady. She watched others, looking for what she missed. They didn't seem more devoted. Their answers weren't clearly wiser, yet they received the acknowledgement she craved, while she received only silence. One evening, after more than 10 years in the center, Arya could wait no longer. She found Master Lyra alone in the garden as light faded. The tall trees cast long shadows on the soft ground, and night sounds began. Arya knelt, carrying the question she had held for years. "Master, may I speak?" Master Lyra nodded, looking at the darkening sky. "I have been here more than 10 years, Arya said. "I have done everything asked. I have practiced, studied, served. I have given my life to this path." Her voice shook slightly. "But there is no sign that my understanding has grown, no confirmation I am progressing or on the right way. Others receive your approval. Why is it withheld from me?" Master Lyra was quiet for a long time. Night insects began their gentle songs. "What are you seeking confirmation of?" she asked finally. "Your recognition that I have gained insight, that these years have meaning, that I am moving toward the arrival I seek." Master Lyra turned to her. Her eyes were calm and deep, catching the last light. "When I nod to another student, what do you think I give them?" Arya thought that they have understood something, that they are progressing, that they can trust themselves. "You believe you need permission from me to trust yourself?" The question landed unexpectedly. Arya opened her mouth, then closed it. Did she need Master Lyra's approval to trust her own experience? She had always thought so. It seemed obvious. Now it felt uncertain. "I thought I did," she said slowly. "Now I am not sure." Master Lyra nodded. "Those are the first honest words you have spoken in 10 years. Arya felt warmth rise in her face. "What do you mean?" "You are a devoted student. Your practice is sincere. Your understanding has deepened in ways you haven't noticed." She paused. But you've been waiting for me to tell you that, waiting for permission to trust what you already know. Waiting has become your barrier. Why didn't you tell me? Why let me struggle with doubt and fear of failing? Telling you would not help. It would become another thing to wait for. You would think, the Master says I am progressing, but there is still more before true arrival, waiting in a new form. One gate replaced by another. She stood and walked slowly in the garden, her robes moving softly. The confirmation you seek is not something I can give or withhold. It was never outside waiting to be granted. Your ability to trust what you know has always been there. The gate has always been open. With the key in your hand, Arya felt something shift inside. Years of waiting, longing for recognition, questioning herself, all because she believed confirmation had to come from outside. Why treat me differently? She asked. Silence when others receive encouragement. Master Lyra turned back. You did not need encouragement. You needed to stop waiting. Others needed words to keep going. Their practice was younger, less certain. Approval helped them continue. You had gone beyond that. Your understanding was ripening. You needed to trust yourself. No one can give that. It must be discovered alone. You waited behind a gate that wasn't there. No wall where you believed one stood. You were already here, understanding, belonging. You just looked outside for what can only be found within. Night grew deeper as they spoke. Stars appeared one by one, small lights in the vast dark. Arya felt something tight from years begin to loosen. A knot she hadn't known was there started to untie. The waiting dissolved, not because she received what she waited for, but because she saw nothing was missing. Nothing had ever been missing. What now? She asked. Master Lyra smiled. The first Arya remembered seeing. Now stop waiting. Stop looking outside for confirmation of arrival. Trust what you know and live from that. Your practice continues, but differently now. Not preparing for some future. Every moment complete as it is. Master Lyra left. Arya stayed in the garden a long time. She thought about years spent seeking outside approval, worthiness, progress, busy looking for a gate. She missed that she was already standing in the garden. When she stood to return, she felt lighter than in years. Ancient stars shone above. The evergreens whispered in the night breeze. Arya walked among them. No more waiting, no more seeking permission. Simply present, simply here, simply belonging. This story shows a deeper side of the gateless gate. Arya lacked nothing. Her understanding was real. Her practice was true. Yet she waited for outside permission to trust what she knew. The gate was the need for external approval. It kept her separate from what she had already found. Zen teaches that awakening cannot be given from outside. A teacher can point, guide, create conditions, but the seeing arises within. No one can give it. No one can take it away. Waiting for permission to trust your own experience keeps the gateless gate closed. The Buddha said each person walks the path alone. Others can point the way, but no one walks it for you. And the path and the destination are not separate. Walking is arriving. Every step is complete. Every moment is the destination. Take a gentle breath. Let it out slowly. No gate to cross for peace. This moment, just as it is complete. Rest in the simple presence here. We have traveled deeply into the gateless gate teaching, seen the gate as illusion, often self-built, no crossing needed because the hoped-for arrival is already here. Discovered the gate leads back to ordinary life, to living without constant reaching, every moment an open door. Now let's touch something even more beautiful. Where does the gateless gate lead? When searching stops and eyes open clearly, an old Zen saying describes the journey of awakening. At first, mountains are mountains, and rivers are rivers. Then, mountains are no longer mountains, and rivers no longer rivers. Finally, mountains are mountains again, and rivers are rivers again. This is profound. The spiritual path does not take us to some special world beyond the ordinary. It brings us back to where we started, with clear vision at last. The gateless gate does not lead to a place reserved for the awakened. It leads right here, to this life, to sweeping floors, to morning light through windows, back home to the ordinary, now seen as eternally sacred. Let me share a story of returning to a place never truly left. In a village on the edge of a large forest, a seeker named Alara spent 20 years following a nameless inner longing. As a young person, she felt ordinary village life lacked deeper meaning. She wanted to understand the profound, touch the divine, find peace missing from daily routines. So she left. She visited distant monasteries on cliffs. She studied with famous teachers. She practiced challenging disciplines. She read ancient texts by candlelight and discussed deep ideas with others. She had experiences that felt like signs of progress, deep stillness in meditation, moments of clear insight, feelings of connection to something vast and timeless. These kept her going, from one center to another, one teacher to another, believing more time would bring final arrival. But after 20 years, the ultimate lasting change still felt missing. The experiences were real, but temporary. Calm from meditation faded in daily life. Insights came and then slipped away. She wondered if she was chasing something impossible, always moving away. Then news came that her mother was ill. Her father had passed years earlier, leaving her mother alone. Now care was needed, and no one else could provide it. Alara packed her few belongings and travelled home. She arrived in late autumn, leaves turning gold and red, air carrying hints of winter. The village seemed smaller than memory, quieter, simpler. Her mother's house was modest, garden a bit wild, roof needing small repairs. Her mother sat by the window when Alara entered, wrapped in a faded blanket, watching an old maple tree drop its leaves. "You are home," her mother said in a softer voice, eyes still bright. "Yes," Alara said, kneeling and taking her hand. "I am sorry I stayed away so long." Her mother smiled. "You were looking for something. Did you find it?" Alara paused. The truth was complex. She had found many things, learned much, but the lasting peace she sought still felt incomplete. "Pieces of it," she said finally, "not the whole." Her mother nodded, as if she expected that. Perhaps the whole is not in one place. Maybe it's in small pieces, waiting to be noticed. In the days that followed, Alara settled into caring for her mother. She cooked simple meals. She cleaned the house. She helped with morning and evening routines. She fixed the roof and worked in the garden. The tasks were humble, far from the grand practices of monasteries. Yet as she did them, something quietly changed. One morning, while washing grains for breakfast, cool water over her hands, the soft sound of grains moving, light from the window sparkling on the bowl. In that moment, Alara felt something familiar, the same deep stillness she had sought in faraway meditations, full presence right here. She stood still, afraid to move and lose it, but it stayed. It stayed as she poured fresh water, as she started the fire and cooked. Right there in the ordinary kitchen, in a task done thousands of times without thought, the sacred appeared. That evening, sitting with her mother by the window, Alara understood. "I felt it today," she said, while washing grains. "The same depth I only reached in long monastery practices. But here, in a simple kitchen task," her mother looked at her with gentle curiosity. "Tell me how it felt." Stillness, clear presence, everything simple and enough, fully there, wanting nothing else. "I spent hours in centers trying to touch that, with strict methods and discipline. Here it came in an ordinary moment." Her mother nodded slowly. "Does that surprise you?" that I thought it required a special place or special action, that I believed I had to escape the ordinary to find the sacred, but the sacred was right here in washing grains. Her mother was quiet for a moment. The last evening light painted the sky in soft colors. I never visited your monasteries, her mother said, never studied with wise teachers or read old texts. I just lived here, doing simple things, cooking, cleaning, watching seasons change. She paused, but I have known that calm, not always, not perfectly, but often enough. It comes when I pay full attention to what is in front of me, when I am fully here, wanting nothing else. Alara thought about her years of searching, distances traveled, teachings learned, disciplines followed. She had sought what her mother had without seeking. Why didn't I see it before? She asked. Why did I travel so far for what was always here? Maybe you needed to go far first, her mother answered. Needed to search until you were tired of searching. Needed to miss the centers to recognize presence in the kitchen. She smiled gently. Leaving was part of coming home. In the months that followed, Alara continued caring for her mother, cooking, cleaning, tending the garden, simple acts where she found the presence she had sought far away. It was quiet, no grand visions, no overwhelming bliss, just a gentle aliveness in ordinary moments, the sacred hidden in plain sight. When her mother asked about the centers and what she learned, Alara found it hard to explain. The teachings were complex, the practices detailed, but what she discovered in the end was far simpler. I was taught attention, she said, taught presence. I thought presence was separate from daily life. I understand now. Presence is fully here, and here is wherever you are. Washing grains, sweeping floors, sitting with you by the window. Were all those years of practice wasted? Alara thought. No, they removed layers. They tired me of believing it was somewhere else. Stopping the search allowed me to see through the gateless gate. Her mother reached for her hand. The simple touch was one of many. Alara was learning to truly feel. That sounds peaceful. It is, for the first time truly, not found in a special place, but by stopping the search for somewhere else. I came home, and home was what I had been seeking all along. Maybe every search has that purpose, her mother said, not to find something outside, but to become tired enough to rest here. Alara gently squeezed her mother's hand. Looking out the window, the old maple stood bare for winter, branches drawing delicate lines against the sky. A tree she had seen thousands of times as a child, without really seeing. Now quietly wonderful, living patiently through time. Maybe you are right, she whispered. Her mother passed peacefully one winter morning, snow falling softly outside the window, Alara holding her hand. The moment was ordinary and extraordinary at once, breath-ending as part of life's natural flow. Alara stayed in the village after. She did not return to distant centers or continue searching. There was nothing more to seek. The gateless gate had led her to this simple home, ordinary life, humble tasks, where approaching with presence revealed more sacredness than any grand monastery. This story shows where the gateless gate truly leads. Alara traveled far and learned much, but the gate opened in her mother's kitchen. The sacred she sought in distant places waited in washing grains, tending gardens, sitting watching leaves fall. Zen teaches that awakening is not escaping the ordinary, it is the ordinary, with the veil of searching lifted. The gateless gate does not lead to another world. It reveals this world clearly. When we stop seeking beyond, here becomes radiant with presence. The Buddha did not teach his followers to run from the world. He taught to see clearly, to be fully present, to meet each moment without resistance or craving. Seeing can happen anywhere. No special conditions or higher states required. Only full attention, willingness to be here, release of belief that peace is elsewhere, in a fishing village, where waves came and went in endless rhythm. A person named Kai carried a heavy inner weight. Years earlier, he had been a monk in a mountain monastery. He took vows, shaved his head, devoted himself to the path of awakening. In his youth, he believed strong discipline would bring enlightenment, but enlightenment never came. Years of stillness, years of practice, following every instruction. Still, he felt the same confused person inside. Others seemed to progress. Kai felt stuck. Glimpses of calm in meditation faded in daily life. He felt like a fraud, going through motions without the essence others had. Finally, the weight of perceived failure became too much. He left the monastery and returned to the world. He wandered without direction until reaching the village and finding work on fishing boats. The work was hard but straightforward. Rise before dawn, go out on the water, cast nets, bring in the catch, return at sunset, rest, repeat. He told no one about his monastic past. That chapter closed. He was just Kai the fisherman now, someone who had tried and failed, living quietly. An older fisherman named Ren worked the boat next to his. Decades of sun and salt had shaped his face like weathered wood, hands strong and scarred. He moved with the ease of lifelong work. They noticed a quiet peace in Ren that he didn't understand. One evening, after securing boats and selling the catch, Kai found Ren sitting on the dock. Sunset painted the water in oranges and golds. Seagulls called. Waves lapped gently against wood. You carry a heavy load, Ren said, without looking at Kai, eyes on the horizon. I have watched for months. You work well, but you are not fully here. Your body pulls nets, but your mind is somewhere else. Kai was startled. He thought no one noticed. What do you mean? Your movements feel like giving up, like living but waiting for it to end. Ren turned to him. Where were you before coming here? Kai was quiet for a long time. The old weight of monastery memories pressed. Ren's calm presence invited truth. I was a monk, he said finally. 15 years in a mountain center. I gave everything to the path. I sought awakening, the peace the teachings promised. He paused, old shame rising. I failed. What I sought never came. Finally, I couldn't pretend anymore and left. Ren nodded without surprise. I came here to forget. Yes, something simple that didn't demand more than I could give. Quiet settled as waves moved. Colors deepened in the sunset. I was a seeker once too, Ren said softly. In my youth I visited temples, sat with teachers. I sought what you did, the great change that would make everything different. Kai looked at him in surprise. You were a seeker. For many years, pushing body and mind to limits. I believed enlightenment was just around the corner, just a little more effort. Ren smiled at the memory, but it never came. The corner kept moving back. The harder I tried, the farther it felt. What did you do? I gave up, like you. Returned to the village, to family boats. I thought I had wasted my youth chasing something that wasn't there. He pointed to the water and boats. Became a fisherman, 50 years now. Did you find peace in this simple life? Ren thought about the question. I found something, in an unexpected way. Not as achievement, but like an opening from surrender. What do you mean? I stopped trying to reach enlightenment, and something relaxed inside. I was just here mending nets, watching the water, doing what needed doing. In that simplicity, without striving, I began to notice presence in ordinary moments, somehow part of the work, not separate. Ren picked up a piece of rope and coiled it with practiced ease. I realized the monastery taught important things. I thought I failed there because I didn't find what I expected. But they taught attention, taught being present in what you do. I just misunderstood that it could happen anywhere, not only on a meditation cushion, mending nets, watching sunrise on water, sitting on the dock at dusk. A faint memory stirred in Kai, almost forgotten. So what you sought was found here, just doing ordinary work? What I sought elsewhere was never elsewhere. It is always here, if you are truly present. I thought I had to pass some gate to find it. I discovered there was no gate. I was already on the other side, looking for something dramatic and special. I missed the miracle of the ordinary. Kai felt something loosen in his chest. His own story reflected back with a different ending. How? He asked. How did the change happen? How did you find peace mending nets after feeling failure? Ren considered. It wasn't one moment. It was gradual. At first the work felt numb from disappointment, but daily tasks wear down thoughts over time. The sea doesn't care about spiritual goals. It doesn't care if you achieve enlightenment or not. It just is. And the work is, eventually you either fight or let go. I let go eventually. Surrender sounds dramatic. Perhaps it was. I was just tired of fighting, tired of comparing life to how I thought it should be. One morning he woke and went out on the water, feeling simply good. The light on waves, the feel of the boat moving, no judging past loss or future achievement. Just there, something inside said, this is enough, more than enough. The sun was almost gone now. First stars appeared in the darkening sky. Waves lapped gently against the dock in their eternal rhythm. I still feel those 15 years were wasted, Kai said quietly. Practice and effort with nothing to show. Ren shook his head slowly. Nothing was wasted. The monastery taught things you didn't recognize yet. It prepared you, even though it didn't look like success. The feeling of failure had purpose too. Sometimes we need to fail at seeking to discover we never lost what we sought. He stood, stretching his old body, looking at Kai. Tomorrow we go out on the water. Try not to think of past or future. Don't judge yourself as failed monk or resigned fisherman. Just be here with nets, water, sky. Feel the ropes in your hands. Feel the boat moving under you. Let the simple work be fully present. He walked away, then turned back. The enlightenment you sought in the monastery, I don't know if it exists in the way you imagined, but presence does. Being fully alive in this moment, that might be all the enlightenment anyone needs. In the weeks that followed, Kai tried what Ren suggested. At first it was difficult. Thoughts wandered to regrets, judgments, comparing simple life to imagined failures. But gradually, moments of real presence came. The feel of wet rope, seagull calls, smell of salt and fish, morning light sparkling on water. The moments were quiet. No dramatic insight he once hoped for, but real, a calm here that years of striving never reached. One morning while pulling in a heavy net, Kai suddenly laughed out loud. Ren nearby raised an eyebrow. Something funny? I spent 15 years trying to reach somewhere special, some sacred place, and here I am covered in fish scales in the simplest work in the world. This is it. What I sought was this. Not somewhere else, right here. Ren smiled. The gateless gate. You crossed it. There was no gate, just willingness to be fully here without needing elsewhere. This story shows another side of the same truth. Kai thought he failed on the spiritual path, but that path led exactly where it needed to reveal the discovery. The enlightenment he sought in the monastery waited in simple presence on the fishing boat. Buddhism teaches that awakening is not reserved for special people or places. It is available to anyone in any circumstance. The gateless gate opens into whatever actual life you are living. Monk's cell or fisherman's boat, grand center or kitchen, meditation cushion or market square. All are sacred ground when met with presence. No need to escape the ordinary to find peace. Only need to be fully present within it. The gateless gate does not lead away. It leads deeper in. It reveals home was never left. We only believed we had. Let your body settle now, feeling whatever supports you. Take a slow breath in, let it out. You are already here, already home. This ordinary moment gently holds you, asking nothing, offering everything. We have seen the gateless gate leads not to some special realm, but back to the home we sought, discovered always here, sacred in kitchen, on boat, in washing grains, mending nets. But understanding is one thing, living it another. We may know intellectually that peace is here, but the habit of reaching for something better, deeper, beyond this moment remains. Reaching for the next achievement, experience, stage of growth. Even understanding peace is here. The mind keeps grasping because it knows nothing else, even though it knows there is nothing to grasp. So how does living without reaching look? What does it mean to rest fully in this moment without needing it to be different? Understanding alone is not enough. It must be practiced, lived, embodied in small daily moments. Let me share a story about resting in the present without constant leaning toward the future. In a town famous for beautiful weaving, a young artist named Luna created patterns of rare skill. Her grandmother had taught her as a child, and she practiced from early years. As an adult, her work was sought by merchants from far away. She should have been content, but Luna was never satisfied. Each finished piece seemed flawed to her. Colors not quite right, patterns slightly off balance. She would finish one and immediately think of the next, sure the next would finally match her vision. She worked without stop, barely resting or eating. Her room filled with pieces others considered masterpieces. To Luna they were all steps toward future perfection. Friends worried, family urged rest, but she couldn't. The next one was always the one that would be perfect. One autumn, an experienced weaver named Hara visited the town. Known across the land, her work was beautiful, but more than that, a calm quality touched everyone who saw it. People said sitting in her weaving room brought unexplained peace. Luna went to her immediately. If anyone could help perfect work, this master could. She found Hara in a simple room at the inn, sitting at an ordinary loom. Her aged hands moved slowly, almost leisurely, guiding threads without hurry. Luna watched for a while, growing impatient. At this speed, how would anything ever finish? You are said to be gifted, Hara said without looking up. I have heard of your work. You weave faster than anyone, with the most complex patterns. I always try to improve, Luna said. I am never satisfied. There is always something better possible. Does that dissatisfaction drive excellence? I believe so. Without it, I would become lazy. Growth would stop. Hara nodded slowly, her hands continuing steadily. Sit beside me. Watch. Luna sat, feeling restless, immediately. The older woman's movements seemed too slow. How could she bear it? You are uncomfortable, Hara noticed. Not used to this pace. When I weave, my hands move quickly. I am always thinking several rows ahead. Colors, patterns. Yes, I see that in your work. Technically brilliant, but missing something. Luna felt defensive. Missing what? Calm, presence. A feeling that the weaver was truly there in each moment of creation, not always reaching forward. Hara paused her work and looked directly at Luna. Your pieces feel made by someone never here, always in the imagined perfect future that never arrives. The words hurt because they were true. Luna was never present in her work, always thinking how it could be better, always leaning forward, never satisfied with what her hands held now. How do I change that? She asked. How do I learn presence? I try, but thoughts always race ahead. Hara returned to weaving. Presence cannot be forced. It appears when forcing stops. It is not achieved. It is allowed. How? I don't know how. I have always pushed, strived, reached for the next. It is all I know. Perhaps learn a different way of working. Not end as means to future perfection. Practice being fully here with whatever your hands hold. She pointed to the loom. Weave something, but don't think about finishing. Don't compare to how it should be. Just feel the thread between your fingers. Watch the shuttle move. Be here with this row, this breath, this moment. Luna sat at the loom. She took the shuttle as usual and began. Immediately the familiar thoughts came. This color here will lead to that pattern. Need to balance with another color. Planning several rows ahead. Stop, Hara said gently. You have already left. Planning for the future. Come back. Luna paused, frustrated. I don't know how to stop. The thoughts come on their own. The habit is strong, I know. It can soften. Try again. When you notice thoughts ahead, gently return to the single thread, the motion you are making now. Luna tried again and again. Each time thoughts jumped forward, Hara gently called her back. It was strangely tiring, this constant returning. She had never noticed how rarely she was present in her work. Hours passed this way. Slowly a change began. First brief moments, Luna found herself simply there. Not planning, not judging, just feeling thread, watching colors come together, being with the movement of her hands. Those moments felt different from anything before. A quiet calm her usual work never allowed. There, Hara said softly. Did you feel it? Yes. Everything seems slower, but actually, I was here instead of always elsewhere. That is presence. It does not create. It appears when we stop creating so much else. When reaching forward stops, the present unfolds, but it only lasted a moment. Thoughts of planning started again. That is natural. Thoughts have reached forward for years. It won't stop overnight. But you felt the difference. You know presence now. That is the beginning. In the days that followed, Luna continued practicing with Hara. She learned to notice when thoughts went ahead and gently return. She learned that dissatisfaction was another form of reaching, always wanting the work to be other than it was. She learned presence is not a destination, but a practice of returning when forgetting, without judgment. I notice I judge myself, Luna shared one afternoon. When thoughts go ahead, I feel frustrated. I think I should be better at this now. Hara laughed softly. Judgment is more reaching. Reaching toward a perfect version of being present. Let that go too. There is no supposed to be perfect at presence. Just this moment, and the next, and the next. Each an opportunity to be here. The weaving produced in those days was different from usual. Simpler technically, but with something else. A calm quality the complex ones lacked. When she looked at it, she didn't immediately see wrong. It just was. This is what people feel in your work, Luna said to Hara. Why they say it brings calm. Not the patterns or colors. The presence of actually making it. Presence stays in the work. Hara smiled. The work carries whatever the maker brings. Bring striving and dissatisfaction. People feel that. Bring presence and calm. They receive that. But what about excellence? Improvement? If I stop reaching for better, won't I stagnate? There is a difference between reaching and growing. Reaching is tense. It comes from feeling this moment is not enough. Growing happens naturally. When you are fully present in work, you see more clearly, you respond more sensitively. Improvement comes without grasping for it. Presence teaches itself. Luna returned to her own space and carried the practice forward. She wove more slowly now, not as slow as Hara. She paused often to feel the thread, notice when thoughts left, returned to present. Her output became less, but the quality grew in a way people noticed, though they couldn't name it. Inside herself, a calm grew that years of relentless striving never brought. She still wanted to improve. She still saw ways work could grow, but it no longer caused suffering. The craft felt alive in natural flow, at its own pace, without the desperate reaching that once filled her days. Years later, young weavers with the same restless ambition she once had came to her, and Luna shared what she learned from Hara. Excellence does not come from reaching, she would say. It comes from presence. When you are fully here with the work teaches you what it needs. The next comes when it comes. For now, just this thread, this moment, that is enough. It is always enough. This story shows the shift from reaching to presence. Luna's constant striving created technically excellent work, but the piece of actually being present in creation was missing. Learning to stop reaching forward revealed the quiet beauty of what was already in her hands. Zen teaches that striving can become its own obstacle. Always leaning into the future, we miss here. This moment always feels not enough, and we cannot receive its gifts. The Gateless Gate asks us to stop reaching and simply be where we are, not because reaching is wrong, but because what we seek is already here. The Buddha spoke of the middle way between extreme indulgence and extreme effort. The middle way is not lazy or passive. It is fully engaged without the tension of grasping, attentive in the present without the poison of dissatisfaction in much of what we do. Finding this balance, work becomes a form of meditation. Every moment a doorway to peace. In a valley where travelers often passed on their way to distant markets, a person named Mira spent most of her life waiting. As a young woman, she waited for the right time to begin real living. She waited for her children to grow and have their own lives. When children left home, she waited for conditions to be right to travel, learn, explore. Now past 50, the waiting continued. Her husband had passed years earlier. Her children lived in far towns, and she ran a small inn to provide for herself. She put off everything until she felt free, but somehow never started. There was always one more reason to wait. The inn was busy. The season wasn't good. She felt unprepared. A traveling merchant named Ren stopped at her inn several times a year. Mira guessed he was about 10 years older, face weathered by roads, eyes kind. While other merchants hurried on, Ren always stayed longer. Evenings he sat by the fire, sipping tea, watching flames with quiet contentment. Mira noticed how genuinely happy Ren seemed in a puzzling way. Life on the road wasn't easy. Constant movement, different bed every night, only what he carried. Yet he radiated a peace Mira didn't have with her stable home and secure life. One evening when other guests had retired and fire burned low, Mira found courage to ask, "You always seem content," she said. "How is that possible? Your life is uncertain, always moving, never settled." Ren smiled and sipped his tea. "Perhaps because I have no fixed picture to compare it to, no image of how life should be that makes how it is feel lacking. I am just here at this inn, this fire, and it is enough." "You don't want more? Don't dream of something better." "I did once, when younger, always dreaming of the next place, the next opportunity, someday when conditions were right to live fully." He shook his head slowly. "I spent many years that way, my mind always elsewhere, always waiting to begin real living." "What changed?" Ren was quiet a moment, watching the last flames among coals. "I became very ill. Around your age, I thought I would die. I lay in a stranger's house for weeks, unable to move, sure time was ending." He paused, remembering. "I realized most of my life I had wasted waiting for the right moment, right conditions, right feeling. All the time life was happening, and I wasn't truly there, always planning to live someday in the future." "Did you recover?" Clearly he smiled, but changed. "I stopped waiting. I stopped believing real living would begin when conditions were better somewhere ahead. I began living the only life there is, the actual one, right where I find myself, right now, whatever the situation." Something familiar and uncomfortable stirred in Mira's chest. "I have waited my whole life," she said quietly. "Always for something. First for children to grow, then for my husband and I to travel together when he retired, but he passed. Then I told myself wait until grief passes. Now I don't even know what I am waiting for. Waiting has become habit." Ren nodded. "It happens. When we wait long enough, we forget what we were waiting for. Waiting becomes its own way of living, a way of not being fully here. How do I stop? How do I stop waiting and begin living? You cannot force it. Waiting is a kind of reaching toward a future that never arrives. Stopping is not something you do." He set down his cup and looked at her directly. "Right now, in this moment, are you waiting for something?" Mira thought. Waiting? She noticed a subtle tension in her body, a slight leaning forward, a sense that this moment wasn't quite real yet. "Yes, even now." "What are you waiting for?" "I don't know, but the feeling is there." "Yes," he said. "Can you feel that tension, that leaning towards something else?" "Yes." "Now, just for this moment, try letting it go. Don't try to feel special. Just stop leaning. Let this moment be exactly as it is. Settle back into it. Fire, tea, quiet evening. Nothing needs to happen. Nothing needs to change. Just this." Mira tried. It was harder than expected. The habit of waiting was deep, and relaxing it almost felt scary, like letting go of a rope held for years, but slowly something released. Tension in her body softened, the sense of leaning forward eased, and she found herself simply here in the quiet inn by dying fire with a kind stranger. Nothing to wait for, simply present. "Oh," she said softly, "yes, that is what stopping waiting feels like. Not dramatic, just this, being here without needing elsewhere." They sat in comfortable silence. The fire cracked occasionally. Wind moved through trees outside. Mira noticed how beautiful simple things were when not looking past them. "I miss so much," she said finally. "All those years waiting, perhaps never fully present in any moment. But that's past. Now I only wonder about this moment. And the next." Ren smiled gently. "The past is gone. The future doesn't exist yet. Only now. Spend it waiting or spend it being here. The choice is available every moment." That seems too simple. Simple, yes. Easy, not always. The habit is strong. It will return many times. You will find yourself leaning forward again, reaching for the next thing, postponing presence until conditions improve. Notice when it happens and simply return. That is the practice. You don't achieve a permanent state of presence and keep it forever. Repeated returning to presence, that is enough. The practice of returning. Each time you notice waiting, each time you return to present, the habit loosens. You choose here instead of elsewhere. Over time, waiting weakens because you keep choosing something else. Mira looked at the fire, now soft glow in embers. She had sat by hundreds of fires like this and realized she had never truly been there, always thinking what was needed, what tomorrow might bring, what she was waiting for. "Thank you," she said. "I don't know if I can change a lifetime habit, but at least now I see what I am doing." Seeing is the beginning. You cannot change what you don't see. You don't need to change everything at once, just this moment and the next. That is how life is lived. Ren left the next morning, and Mira stood at the inn door watching him go. Sun rising over hills, sky painted soft colors. She noticed how beautiful it was. Noticed she was seeing it here without waiting for something else. In the months after, she practiced what Ren showed. Notice when waiting returned, gently let it go. Found herself more present with guests, more attentive to small daily joys. She did not become a different person, did not take a grand journey or dramatically change life, but something shifted. The color of waiting began to fade from everything. A quiet presence grew in most ordinary moments. making even enough feel like more than enough. She never took the grand journeys postponed for years, but one morning walking in the ordinary market, she realized she no longer waited to begin real living. This was real living. It always had been. She had just been too busy waiting to notice. This story shows another face of living without reaching. Mira spent decades waiting for right conditions to begin real life. Waiting became so deep, she no longer knew what she waited for. A gentle stranger showed her she could simply stop, let go of constant leaning toward a future that never arrives. Buddhism teaches the present moment is the only place life actually exists. Past is memory, future is imagination. Only now is real. When we spend life waiting for something else, we miss the life actually happening. We trade reality for fantasy, presence for anticipation. The gateless gate opens by stopping waiting. Waiting is not wrong, but it keeps us from what is already here. Stop postponing life and live life. Reach within the moment you are reaching in. When reaching finally stops, you discover you have arrived. You always had, just too busy looking ahead to notice. Soften your breath now. Feel yourself settling into this moment. Nothing to reach for, nothing to wait for. This breath, this gentle awareness, this presence is enough. Simply rest here. We have explored what stopping reaching means, resting in the present moment, seen how the habit of leaning forward can soften with gentle practice through repeated returning to what is here. Now let's go deeper into something still more beautiful. The gateless gate is not a single threshold you pass once, not a dramatic awakening moment that finishes everything. It is every moment, every breath, every sight, every ordinary experience is an invitation to be fully here. Awakening is not something that happened in the past or will happen in the future. It is available now. This breath you are taking is available. The simple fact of hearing these words, body resting, being alive, is available. Zen has always pointed to this truth. When students ask, "Where is the Buddha?" the answer is always here, now, in this moment, this activity, this breath, not elsewhere, not another time. The gate is always open. It only asks that you offer yourself completely to this moment to receive it. Let me share one more story about this truth. In a busy market town where merchants called out wares and people hurried between stalls, a person named Sora lived always focused on what was next. Thoughts constantly moved, planning, calculating, anticipating, eating breakfast while thinking of morning work, doing afternoon tasks while thinking of evening, resting at dusk while thinking of tomorrow. By most measures successful, business did well, family provided for, hard work respected. Yet Sora felt strangely empty inside. Life passed in a blur of activity. Years went by unnoticed. Children grew up with barely remembered childhoods. Seasons changed. Winter always surprising. Every week Sora bought household supplies at the market. Always moved quickly through stalls, getting what was needed as fast as possible to leave. Time was precious. Always something else to do. In one corner of the market, an older person named Lyra sold simple seasonal fruit from a wooden cart, offerings arranged neatly on worn cloth. Unlike others who shouted and bargained, Lyra sat quietly watching people pass with calm expression, never seemed hurried, never anxious about sales. Sora passed the cart hundreds of times without really noticing. But one morning something made Sora pause. Perhaps the quality of stillness around it, so different from the market's energy. Perhaps the way Lyra's eyes really saw people rather than just customers. "You are always rushing," Lyra observed, voice calm like an old river. Sora blinked, surprised to be spoken to. "I have much to do. Time doesn't wait. Time doesn't wait, true. But you seem to be the one not waiting, always ahead of yourself." Lyra lifted a ripe fruit and offered it. When did you last truly taste a piece of fruit? Really taste it, without thinking of the next thing? Sora took the fruit but had no answer. Couldn't remember. Eating was something done between other activities, fuel so body could continue. Sit with me a moment, Lyra said, pointing to a small stool beside the cart. The market will still be here in 5 minutes. Your tasks will still wait. Something in the voice made Sora obey, though restlessness came immediately. Sora sat, fruit in hand, thoughts already calculating how to leave quickly. You are not here, Lyra observed. Your body is on the stool, but you are elsewhere. Where? Thinking what I need to do today. Buy supplies, work waiting at home. And when you do that work, where will you be? Sora opened mouth to answer, then stopped. Would be thinking of something else. Of course, always thinking of something else. Brief stops in the present moment were rare. I see you understand, Lyra said. You live your whole life this way, always in the future, never here. Then you wonder why life feels empty, why years blur together, why you barely remember your children growing. Sora felt defensive. I have responsibilities. I cannot just sit and do nothing. I am not asking you to do nothing. I am asking you to do something while being here. There is a difference. Lyra nodded at the fruit. Eat that, but truly eat it. Feel it against your fingers. Smell it. Take a bite without rushing to the next. Let this simple act be completely present. Sora looked at the fruit. Small, unimportant thing, but Lyra's quiet certainty made Sora want to try. Brought it to nose and breathed in. The scent was sweet, richer than noticed before. Took a bite. Juice on tongue, cool flesh soft. Chewed slowly, feeling texture, flavor, simple pleasure of fresh fruit with attention. For that moment, thoughts of what needed doing stopped. Just this taste of fruit, morning light, sounds of market around, fully here, in a way not remembered for a long time. Then thoughts returned, reminding of tasks. But the moment had happened. Felt it. There, Lyra said softly. That is what being present feels like. Every moment offers it if you are willing to receive. I cannot eat fruit all day. I have work and responsibilities. Of course, presence is not about what you do. It is about how. You can rush through work with mind always ahead, missing everything. Or you can be here in each task, fully alive to what is actually happening. Lyra smiled gently. The gate is always open, Sora. Every moment an invitation to stop long enough to walk through. What gate? What do you mean? Lyra was quiet a moment, watching people hurry past. People spend life searching for something. Calm, fulfillment, feeling life has meaning. They search in achievements, possessions, future plans, but it's not in any of those things. It is here in this moment, in simple acts fully present. Lyra tapped the wooden cart. I almost died many years ago, ill for months. Sure, each day was my last. That time changed something in me. I stopped rushing toward a future I thought I might not have. Only now remained. I discovered now was enough, more than enough. Everything I ever searched for was here. But you recovered. Yes, I did not go back to the old way of living. The illness taught me what I kept. Each morning I wake, knowing the day is a gift. Each moment an opportunity to fully taste life. The open gate I can walk through. Sora sat absorbing. The noisy market continued, but this small corner felt like a still point. I don't know if I can change, Sora said finally. This has been my way, my whole life. Always rushing, always planning, always elsewhere. You don't need to change everything at once. Just this moment. Can you be here in this moment, and then the next? Presence asks only that, not transforming your whole life. Just attention to what is actually here right now. Sora finished the fruit. Noticed final juice on fingers, slight stickiness, faint sweetness when licked thumb. Small thing felt like awakening from long sleep. Thank you, Sora said. I don't even know what you gave me, but thank you. I gave nothing. I only pointed to what was always here. The gate is always open. Every moment an invitation. You just have to stop rushing past. Sora stood, brushing robe. The fruit was gone, but the moment of presence lingered, the taste of what presence felt like. May I return? Asked, to talk again. I am here every morning. The fruit may be different, but the moment is always new. In the weeks after, Sora began practicing what Lyra showed, tried to be present in work rather than always thinking what next. Tried to really see children when speaking, really taste food, really feel evening air sitting outside home. It was not easy. The habit of rushing was strong. Caught self leaping to future again and again. Each time noticed, took breath, felt feet on ground, looked around and actually saw where was. Gradually something shifted. Life stopped feeling like a blur. Moments became more distinct, more vivid, more real. Began to remember small things that would have been missed before. The way daughter laughed at a joke, the color of sunset sky, the feel of spouse's hand. Returned to Lyra's cart many times. Sometimes they talked, sometimes sat in comfortable silence. Two people practicing their art of being present in a world always rushing elsewhere. The gate is always open, Lyra would say. Every moment, not just special ones, dull ones too, difficult ones, ordinary ones, all invitations, all chances to be here. Gradually Sora began to understand that this was the only gate there ever was, not something found at journey's end, not something that opens someday when conditions are right. Just this now, just this. Stop rushing to receive what each moment offers with willingness. One morning a child asked why Sora seemed different. You are more here, the child said. You used to seem always thinking of something else. Now when I speak, you actually listen. Sora smiled. I am learning to stop rushing past the gate. What gate? This one, Sora said, gesturing to the two of them together in simple morning light coming through window. This moment is the only gate there ever was. This story reveals the gateless gate is not a single door to pass once. It is every moment, every ordinary experience offering presence, awaiting notice. Sora spent life rushing past the gate, always focused on next, never present to hear. A wise elder helped see that there was nowhere to go to find what was sought. Just stop and be present to what is already in front. Zen teaches every moment is complete. Every ordinary experience contains everything needed. Being truly present while washing dishes is as sacred as meditation. Work is as profound a pilgrimage as walking to a temple. The gate is not elsewhere. It is here now, in whatever you are doing. The Buddha taught enlightenment is not reserved for special moments or special places. Awakening is available every moment to anyone willing to be fully present. The gateless gate opens again and again with every breath, offering the same invitation. Be here. Receive this moment. Let it be enough. In a valley where a river wounds slowly through fields of green and gold, a young person named Mira lived with very little patience. Walked quickly, spoke quickly, thought quickly. Life was short. Slowness felt like waste. So much to accomplish, places to go, future to build. Her grandmother was the opposite. She moved through life like the river itself, slow, unhurried, taking time with everything. She could spend an hour drinking one cup of tea, pause in walks to look at a flower or watch a bird, seemed completely unconcerned with time passing. Mira loved her grandmother, but could not understand. How could she stand moving so slowly? Didn't she realize how much she was missing by taking so long with everything? When grandmother grew older and needed care, Mira was the one who came. She moved into the small house by the river and took over daily tasks, cooking, cleaning, tending garden. She tried to be patient, but grandmother's slowness made her restless. Everything took so long, walking to the well, eating meal bite by bite. Evenings spent watching river flow by. One afternoon Mira worked quickly in the garden, pulling weeds with efficient motions. Grandmother came outside slowly and lowered herself onto a bench to watch. "You're always rushing," grandmother observed. "Even pulling weeds becomes a race." Mira wiped sweat from forehead. "If I don't hurry, I won't finish before dinner. If I don't finish dinner before dark, I have to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow has its own tasks." Grandmother nodded slowly. "So you rush through today to save time for tomorrow. Rush through tomorrow to save for the next day. When does the rushing end?" Mira paused with a weed dangling from her hand. She had never thought of it that way. The rushing never ended. There was always something else. "Come sit beside me," grandmother said, patting the bench. "But the weeds I need to finish." "The weeds will wait. Sit with me." Mira sighed but obeyed. She sat, body tense with urge to move, do, accomplish. "Look at the river," grandmother said. "What do you see?" Mira looked. The river was always the same. Brown water moving slowly between green banks. Nothing special. "I see the river," she said. "Look again. Really look." Mira tried to see what grandmother pointed to. The afternoon light caught on water, sparkling gold and silver. Small swirls near banks carried leaves and twigs in lazy circles. A dragonfly skimmed the surface, leaving tiny ripples that spread and faded. On the far bank, a heron stood completely still, with endless patience. "It is beautiful," Mira admitted. "I never noticed before. You never stop long enough. This river has passed through your life every day, and you never truly looked." Grandmother's voice was gentle, without judgment. "That is what rushing does. It blinds us to what is actually here. But I have so much to do. I cannot spend all day looking at rivers. I am not asking all day. Just this moment. This one." Grandmother took granddaughter's hand. "Every moment is a doorway, Mira. An invitation to be fully present, to receive the gift of seeing what is here, of being alive." Most people hurry past these doorways without noticing, always on their way to elsewhere. A doorway to what? Grandmother was quiet. A long moment, watching river flow. "When I was young, I was like you, always rushing, always busy, always looking ahead. I thought that was how life was supposed to be lived. Then one day, I sat beside this very river and saw it, really saw it. The way light moved on water. The current, the heron standing so still. Something stopped me. Not just my body, something deeper. My mind's constant rushing quieted, and I was just present, just alive. What happened? Nothing dramatic. But everything felt different, more vivid, more real, like I had been sleepwalking my whole life, and suddenly woke up. I recognized I had been rushing toward all along. Simple presence, being fully here with what is." She squeezed granddaughter's hand. "I had been looking for a gate to pass through to a better, more meaningful life. I discovered the gate was right here. It always had been. Every moment a gate. I was just too busy rushing to walk through." Mira felt the bench beneath her. Grandmother's hand, warm, gentle movement of air across skin. Tried to be truly present the way grandmother described. It was harder than expected. Thoughts kept jumping to tasks, waiting, weeds unfinished, dinner to prepare. But for a moment, something shifted. The river became more vivid. Afternoon sounds of birds, insects, soft water lapping became clearer. She was actually here in a way she rarely was. "Oh," she said softly. "Yes, that is it. That is the gate opening, not elsewhere, not some special time. Right here in this ordinary moment on this old bench, looking at this river I have seen 1,000 times. It will fade though. Thoughts of rushing, are coming back. That is natural. Presence is not a permanent state you achieve and keep forever. It is a practice of returning again and again to what is here. The gate is always open. We keep walking past it. The practice is to notice and stop long enough to walk through, even for a moment, again and again. In the months caring for grandmother, something changed in Mira too. She still moved quickly at times, still had tasks and responsibilities, but she began pausing more often, pausing in hanging laundry to feel sun on face, sitting with grandmother at dusk to truly watch river, letting minds rush in quiet. She began to see what grandmother was trying to show. Every moment a doorway, the extraordinary hidden inside the ordinary, waiting to be seen. The gate was not at some journey's end elsewhere. It was here now, in the simple act of being present. One evening grandmother asked what she was learning. "I am learning to see," Mira said. "I spent my life looking ahead and never truly saw anything, too busy rushing to the next thing. Now I see, not perfectly always, but more than before. I am beginning to find the gate you spoke of in every moment." They paused, watching river in final light fading. "Now I understand why you move slowly. You are not wasting time. You are savoring it, walking through all the gates I rushed past." Grandmother smiled. "Every moment is a gift. Most people tear open one gift while reaching for the next and never truly receive any. If you slow enough to receive each fully, you find every gift contains everything you ever wanted." Grandmother passed peacefully one spring morning, with river sounds outside window, Mira holding her hand in a way she understood more deeply than before. Grandmother had given her something precious, not achieved or possessed, but a way of being, willingness to stop rushing, capacity to see the gate in every moment, every breath, always open. She still lives in the house by the river, still young in years, but moves more slowly now. Visitors sometimes come and notice something in her presence, the way she truly sees. They feel calmer in her company though, cannot name why. If they ask her secret, she points to the river and smiles. "Every moment is a doorway," she says. "Most people hurry past. If you stop long enough to truly look, you find the gate you have been searching for has been open all along." This story reveals the gateless gate is available in every ordinary moment. Mira rushed toward future, busy, missing all the doorways around her. Grandmother's gentle teaching showed what was needed was not somewhere ahead, but right here, hidden in plain sight. Buddhism teaches the sacred and ordinary are not separate. Every moment holds the same potential for awakening any moment ever has. What happened under the Bodhi tree is available under every tree, in every room, with every breath. The gate is not closed waiting to be opened. It is open now, always has been. When we spend much of life waiting for special moments or right conditions to finally be present, that waiting itself keeps us from what we seek. The gateless gate asks us to stop waiting and walk through right now, in this very ordinary moment. Not tomorrow, not when ready. Now, soften your eyes. Take a slow breath. This moment right here is the open gate. Nothing to wait for, nothing to prepare. Simply allow yourself to receive what this moment offers. We have journeyed far through the teaching of the gateless gate, through many stories and reflections, yet arrived nowhere at all. That is the beautiful truth of the gateless gate. There was never anywhere to go. We have seen the gate as illusion we create between ourselves and peace, an enclosure made of nothing but belief. Discovered we build this enclosure ourselves through searching, preparing, waiting, reaching. Learned there is no crossing to make, because we are already on the other side, always have been. Found the gateless gate leads back to ordinary life. Kitchen, boat, fishing, washing grains, mending nets. Practice living without reaching, resting in present, without constant leaning toward future. Seen every moment an open gate, sacred hidden in ordinary, waiting only for us to stop rushing past. Finally come home, not to a new place, but to here where we always were, not through achievement or transformation, but through simple recognition. The gate was never closed, peace was never far away, home all along. We just didn't know. Now we can rest, not because we accomplished something, we saw there was never anything to accomplish. We can stop searching, we can let striving settle, just this breath, this moment, gentle presence that asks nothing and offers everything. You are already home, you always have been. Let questions settle like still water, let seeking dissolve like morning mist. The gateless gate asks nothing of you except to be here, and here you are, always here. Sleep well, and thank you for joining us at That Sleepy Historian.